even if it were never and could never be directed to you, you should abhor it because it is inhumane, it's unchristian, it's indecent, and it also displays a contempt for truth. A lot of this came up yesterday because it was September 11th. And never before have so many felt so comfortable to say to so many others, the Jews, this is a crime that was done by radical Muslims who admitted it and boasted about it. And it is now a common currency in the lunatic fringe to say the Israelis / the Jews did it. I spent hours today, and this is not a subject that I'm an expert on, reading about people who denied that the Pentagon was hit by a plane. People who had actually witnessed it were in the comments saying, no, I was there. I saw it. But that's not proof. That's not, Danny, is there much better proof, even though we know that there are serious problems with direct testimony, that as an empirical matter, there isn't much better proof than direct testimony of the occurrence of a thing. There are documents. We live in a world now where everything, if it doesn't exist in video, even though we have AI, and we've now learned that we are lied to by video all the time. People, there's nothing you can prove. It's like the people said that there was no moon landing. And it was within the lifetime of most of the people who are alive today. And yet people are, it's less than a year since October 7th. The Palestinians who attacked this music festival filmed what they did and posted it to social media. It was a party for them.
And people are still denying it.
Even the UN, the anti-Semitic, anti-Israel UN said, this is bad. It looks like this is, and by the way, war crimes, even the anti-Israel, Human Rights Watch, even they admitted that Hamas committed multiple war crimes. Go on Twitter, hundreds and hundreds of tweets denying it ever happened, or that Israel did it. Yeah, you can say absolutely anything. Now listen, this goes back to the original point in my essay here, which was that at the end of the day, we can't have people deciding what's misinformation, what's disinformation, what's true and false. That never works. My argument here is that from a business point of view, X has to decide. We're not talking about factual discussions here. We're talking about harassment, routine harassment of users. You don't let your users get, especially people who are, I'm paying to be on X. I make a few $100 a month from Twitter between subscriptions and advertising shares. So I'm doing very well. I have 250,000 followers, which results in professional referrals for me and is great for X because you've got a guy with 250,000 followers who has almost 400,000 posts. I'm giving them a lot of content and I'm paying for it. Wouldn't you want to protect that business by saying, hey, what do we do not to shut down debate, but to make routine gross harassment a little bit harder to get away with on the platform? That's all I'm suggesting, because it's corrosive. It's not just, well, then quit Twitter. Of course, that would be really bad for me because I've been on since 2009 and I have this relatively large following, and it's really important. This is how I get the word out. This goes back to our first stream, Danny, and we kind of got to know each other. I didn't come into this world with a network like some people do. Yeah, we're talking about J.D. Vance. I didn't come into the world with a network. My father was an orphan, grandchild of immigrants, raised by his grandmother. My mother was an immigrant, survivors of the Holocaust. You can go to good schools, but that doesn't make you a member of the network. It just means that you get to look at the network. You get to see some from the outside, at least. I have no complaints. This country's been very good to me. But the magic of social media is that if you're a guy like me with maybe a good brain in his head and an engaging way of expressing himself, you can maybe get some interest up in what you have to say, and you can have a little bit of influence. And it's an amazing thing. I'm very grateful for it. Don't make it so miserable for me. There's got to be a way. And it's not about Ron Coleman, because at the end of the day, it is tolerable for me. But there are many other people who really are emotionally harmed by it. And as I said, it's also corrosive to civil order.
I'm not even the target group, and
Right, but just see, yeah, that's right. It degrades the mere experience of seeing people interact this way with each other, degrades your humanity. You become more coarse. You become less trusting. And it's terrible for us. People say things to each other that they would never say in person. When you add the component of the racial hate, and it's funny because people say, how many of these people are there? And there are two answers to that. There probably are not nearly as many of them as they want us to think. A lot of them have multiple accounts. A lot of these accounts, by the way, are being run out of probably Iran. They want to sow anti-Semitism in this country and divisiveness, and especially on the right. They want to keep Trump out of office. So anything that makes conservatives on the right look bad is good for them. I believe this. Not that there aren't plenty of basement Nazis who really are, but as my friend Cynical Publius wrote in an article in Tablet a few months ago, don't kid yourself about the Arab world. There's a great deal of sympathy for eliminationist rhetoric. They're simply very comfortable with it. We are, because
we're watching it happen. Anybody with two eyes can see that. I mean, it wasn't just one group of people. It wasn't just Hamas and people in Lebanon. It wasn't just the Lebanese who were having these little parades. It was people in Turkey having parades.
in Gaza.
There were people everywhere in the Middle East celebrating what happened on October 8th. There were people everywhere in the Middle East celebrating what happened on September 11th. And anybody who has the gumption, the nerve, not gumption, the nerve,
the chutzpah
to go after other religious groups because they aren't yours. I don't know if you believe in a hell or not, but I wish you would go there because that's the only place that's the right place for you.